Are we live? That's the
All right,
question.
let's see if we're live on the right. Yeah, we are. Okay, so we're right. We're live on the link that was tweeted out. Okay, so it's working. Still had thumbnail issues. I don't know why. It's only whenever you and I are doing a stream,
All
not
right.
when it's
I see
manifesting.
it.
Cool. All right. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode on uh, the Financial Summit Network. We are back with Mark Wood. It's been about 3 weeks, maybe even a month. Mark, we are starting to show a little bit later, and I do have a lunch meeting at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So we have less than an hour, and I'm not going to say anything. I just did a show a few hours ago. The floor is yours. Pull up
Perfect.
the Bitcoin charts, maybe talk about traditional markets as well, but let's go fairly quickly.
Okay. Um, I do have one quick question. I have not seen any of your shows with Matt this week, so I am completely in the dark. I'm wondering, did you buy the MRI by this week? Are you long?
I am not long. The I was fairly bearish on Monday morning when we were breaking that 90K area,
Mhm.
and then we reversed, and we are still in the dead cat bounce phase.
Mhm.
We are at the very top of that dead cat bounce phase. We have now made a green star candle on the daily chart.
Yep.
The daily chart has also broken critical moving averages. So the daily chart is on the verge of being bullish. It's still in a declining, I guess, parallel channel that needs to, resolve itself. But more importantly, I'm waiting for the weekly green star, which should arrive next week with the break of this week's high.
Got you. I get it. I totally get that. I did I did see the green star on daily. We'll take a look at that in a minute, but I did see that as a potential long area. And I wanted to start off just taking just with this look right here because this is just an idea that I've had based on some TA that I was seeing from about a week ago that was telling me the price was going to drop. I was very confident that we were going to see sub 90K. um, Myself, I was hoping it was going to dip a little bit deeper. I'll show you exactly where I
Same. I was 2 days away from an MRI buy on the daily, and I talked about that. I really wanted to see us hit 85
yep, yep,
today, and
yep,
I would have bought that dip.
yep. I'm with you 100%. I kind of have, so I'm just looking at a fractal right here. And if you look at the very specific day, this was that months long consolidation right here in 2023 with Bitcoin sitting at around, I mean, basically it was at $27,000 for months. Yeah, there were some spikes down and some spikes up, but when it finally broke up above, let's call it 28K, we got this nice pop and then this nice rise. And Tone, you and I mentioned this fractal um, several streams ago, and we were looking at this drifting up, which is exactly what happened right here after this massive consolidation breakout. So the fractal, the idea that I'm not a fractal person per se. However, there was also TA in line telling me to watch for something like this. So this right here was a nice bear trap in January 24th. And here we are in January 15th. I do think there sometimes can be some cyclic timings to things. This January might be one of them. I was looking for a low, just like Tone said. I would have loved to have seen a spike down into 85K somewhere around this week, like closer to the 20th. But it's very possible that we did get the move. It just got front run. But what happened back here, I will zoom in a little bit. So I have buy this, meaning, hey, if we get any kind of similar price action, um, let's consider this a buy. I kind of had the dip going down to this level of support by the wicks. It almost tagged it perfectly. And if we look at these wicks here, starting in December 23rd, all the way into January, for almost an entire month, the price was flirting with $40,100. And as soon as those stops got taken out, people probably had stops holding for the longer term, right around 40.2 up to, let's say, 41,000. When those stops got taken out, we got this flush. However, that was a bear trap. I'm wondering if I put volume on. I don't have volume on this. I would imagine that there's a nice volume spike right here. And then we can see basically what happened after this flush was a move from $38,000 straight up to 74K. So looking ahead at this current price action, I was expecting these wicks to get taken out, like similar type price action wicks around $91.2 thousand. That's where the demand was showing up. And all sure as hell, those stops got taken out and we got this flush down. But I really wanted to see the price push further, at least to the top of this range at $86,000. But we've seen a reversal. Tone thinks it's a dead cat bounce. I am.
Well, no.
Okay.
I don't. Let me correct that.
Okay.
A dead cat bounce implies the high probability of a rejection
Okay.
and more downside. I'm not saying it's a dead cat bounce. I'm just saying that it has not yet broken out of the dead cat bounce area. Now, I am starting to lean bullish here, but we need a little more because the weekly chart is not aligned. Had the weekly chart been aligned bullish, I would strongly consider going long, right? So there's basically only two things that are stopping me from going long. The downward sloping trend line, if you connect the prior two highs, and the weekly is in, and you can connect it any way you like. You can make it more conservative, less conservative. But the point is, this is still a problem for Bitcoin. We still need to and the other problem is the weekly is in a neutral phase, not a bullish phase. That's it. Those two things.
Yes.
And until Bitcoin breaks these two things, it is technically in a dead cat bounce, even though in my heart, I believe that the low is it.
I think you and I, we haven't spoken at all. Tone and I, we haven't spoken in weeks. Like, we've had our break. And so this is the first time we've seen each other. We haven't given our opinions or ideas. And yet I believe we are both having the exact same sentiment. I do believe this was the low. However, I am holding reservation because there is some technical analysis that is still going to have me looking in the 85K range if 94,000 is broken. And I'll show you that very clearly soon. But let's just take a look at what Tone is saying. So I drew a red horizontal, kind of like you can just see. Sometimes it's just very easy to visualize with a horizontal where resistance is going to be. And yes, these moves are outside of the range, these two little spikes, but you can see a lot of wicks below this price range. Let's call it, I have it marked right around 96.10. You've got a spike up here, a spike up here, a spike up here in the end of December at 99.6. And here's the price spiking one more time in the 99.6. So Tone is correct. All that we have had so far is a nice reaction off of a low into resistance. Okay. The price has broken above some key resistance, and I'm starting to see oscillators shift on 2 and 3 day time frames. We'll take a look at that in another chart. And then we do have this trend line here. So let me speculate this idea, Tone. We need 102, let's just call it $103,000 for a swing high. That will eliminate a greater probability of a lower low. So far we have a high, a low, a lower high, and a lower low. Okay. So daily is still in a downtrend, technically, until we get a new major high, I would have to see at least above 103. So tone, weekly green star candle with the price above 103,000. You're long?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And it's funny because sometimes in trading or investing, you can have this mentality of, holy crap, I missed this low. I missed $89,000. Why the hell am I going to buy? Uh, let's see, from that high up to the swing high, 15% higher. Well, because you're getting a reversal on the weekly time frame, you're getting some technical analysis that's going to suggest that the price could potentially move another 15% or more above there. So you're just going for a much longer play. And I would agree with that. I did not buy this dip. I was planning on buying. I actually was literally lifting weights in my basement when this drop took place. I was monitoring with a friend of mine down in Florida. And I'll show you where it dropped to, which is the reason that I would have bought this. I'm talking about spot buys. It's not a trade, just part of a longer term plan. But I did not buy this. And I am kind of waiting for confirmation as well as is tone. So let me go to the cloud. This is really interesting. So now let's look back into this period of January of 2024 to give an idea of where I was looking at a potential buy zone, which was anywhere between the blue, this Tenkan and Kijun with the green cloud twist right here, down to the red. As you can see in 2024, the price kind of landed right in the middle of this zone. So now this is all the way down to 78,800. That is a really important price range based on what I'm looking at on the monthly. I see 78,000, let's just call it $80,000 as where the month might correct to, might. If it does correct there, I see that as a major buying opportunity. But watching this price action before dipping down to the blue is telling me where we might not get this monthly drop. That might have been it for the month. But this is close enough. The top of the blue, it was at 87,500. That would have been close to perfect to at least start making small spot buys for me. What I'm trying to show is very, very, very similar price action right here. As soon as this swing high in January of 2024 was taken out, which was at $49,000, you can see there was a drop to test it. That basically shot the price straight from $49,000 to 73. I think we will see something very similar when this swing high or this all-time high is taken out at 108. I would not be surprised to see the price trending up to 115, close to 120K, if that's the case. Would you agree with that, Tone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let me go back really quick. This is interesting to me. I drew this idea a good long while ago. I just have these Fibonacci extensions in place, and $102,000 was a very important range for me. And I'm gonna go over this really quickly because I'm gonna show you what I'm kind of anticipating based on historical moves. I drew this arrow having the price pierce above the 1.618, drop back down to it, and then launch. Now, we've got the piercing, but the price didn't go as high as I wanted. I was really wanting it to trend higher to around 115 and then drop back down. So I'm leaving open the possibility of one more spike above this, but still below the 2.0 extension, which is at 122K right here. And then even still, time in early 2025 for one more strong drop. And here's a better way to put it. Once the 1.618 is trusted support, tested, trusted, and we've seen a significant move above it, then this area at the 2.618 remains my long-term target. 155K has been my long-term cycle target for ever since the 15K lows were confirmed. And I'm beginning to think that that is conservative, because I'm beginning to believe that the price can double into $200,000 based on high time frame TA, which Tone and I have mentioned on here, and I will show why with this. So the 2-month chart at the December close finally gave me what I've been looking for ever since a year ago, when the price spiked to $62,000. I was wanting March to close above the top band, and we saw that harsh rejection with basically a shooting star, which led to several months of sideways price action. Last close got that signal for me. In my opinion, this is one of the most bullish signals we get in the history of Bitcoin right here. When you get a close above the top band on the 2-month. Why do I say that? Well, here we get the signal November 2020. The price went from 28K to 65K, basically 69K. Back here in 2016, we got that signal at $975. That basically took the price straight to 20K. Even if I go on the index chart, let me go on the index chart. Wait, that's not the index chart. Maybe was I on the index chart? Yeah, I am on the index chart. Okay. Oh, here it is. Yeah, sorry. Going back as far as 2013, when we got that signal, that took the price from $32 up to $265 and eventually up to the $1,200 top. So this tells me that getting the price to double off of this close of $93,000 is not even remotely unreasonable. And historically, this signal has led to another 6 to 12 months of upside. So for people who have been looking for this uptrend to end in Q1 of 2025, I do not see that. In fact, this latest consolidation only strengthens my argument that this is going to continue past Q1. Any thoughts on this idea, Tone?
No, I completely agree. I mean, I wasn't using Bollinger Bands at all. I was just using the MRI and the cup and handle and the Fibonacci projections. And
well, here's another thing. When I add
you have an MRI acceleration line that was broken, right?
Exactly.
I'm just not a Bollinger Band fan.
I know you're not. I use them every day though, and I trust them, and I know how to read signals through them, especially when I add moving averages. But Tone, you and I covered this. I've mentioned many times that I see, and I'm not the only person saying this. I see this on Twitter. People are seeing it in their own ways. There are hints of this cycle acting and behaving more like 2016 and 2017 than anything we saw in 2020. And here is a great indication of that. May of 2017 actually got the mother lode of signals. It got a green star candle closing above MRI acceleration at 1700 and above the top Bollinger Band. Okay, that in essence took the price from $2,500 to 20K. So we got the green star candle here. I was really wanting this candle in late September to close above the band. But once again, we saw rejection and that led to more sideways. But we've got the green star candle. This current candle is a green 4. Let's do an always or never scenario. We have always, well, there's only 2 examples. No, there's 3 examples to draw from. We have never seen less than a green 7 count after a green star candle on this time frame. So this This suggests 5, 6, 7. This suggests that this uptrend continues at least into the summer, which I do think is possible. At this point, though, I would like to see these prices closing above. Really quick, we did have the 3-month close. I'm going to just take a look at these high time frame closes. We got the 3-month close. The quarterly also closed above. We are on an MRI warning on this time frame. However, let's look back at 2017, what happened on the green 8. We basically saw the price go from 4K to 20K. And it did top on the quarterly MRI top. I don't know if I'm expecting it to top next quarter, but that is something to consider. We also had a 6-month close, which was a green star above the top band. The last time we got that signal was July 2020. Price of $29,000 basically doubled. So this strengthens my argument that we can see a doubling of the price. And yes, we have to factor in diminishing returns. We have to factor in market cap and all that. I still think the price can double. I just do. And then we had a yearly close. We also had a 4-month close, which not many people look at the 4-month chart, but I love the 4-month chart when you get a chance to look at it. And here it is showing some really relevant information. It is a green 5 candle count. We got a close above the top band. That has historically been very bullish, but it is still held down by the MRI acceleration. So what does this tell me? I'm going to tell you what it tells me, Tone. Tell me if you agree. If this next candle, which doesn't close until, where are we? April, spring, happens to close above $98,400, the MRI acceleration, well, I'm going to consider that quite bullish. Would you agree? I think the price is going to be well above there anyways by April.
I can't agree with that.
No. Why is that?
Because this is literally the candle that topped the prior 2 bull markets.
This market topped on a 6.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so they did top on a 6, but they were the candles that broke that line. They went pretty far above the line, and honestly, 6, 7, 5. I mean, it's almost the same thing, right?
Yeah.
But
I understand.
I'm more. If you go to the 3-month chart, I like that one a little better.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have an acceleration line, and it's an MRI warning candle. And this one closes when? At the end of Q1, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we're gonna top in Q2.
Q2. Okay.
Q2 or Q3, we're gonna top, right? The question is, how high will it go?
Correct. I'm thinking more Q3 than Q2, but definitely not Q1. Now I'm really zoomed out. This is just a pattern. This is just the yearly pattern that we see in Bitcoin. Going back to 2015, you get the bull market top. You get 1 year red candle, 3 years up. 1 year red candle, 3 years up. So this year is the topping year. Here we have the MRI acceleration at 110, and it is interesting. It is interesting that the price topped there. I don't know how these accelerations just work, but they just do. There are other reasons that it topped there. There were Fibonacci's there as well. But I think it would. So, Tone, let me ask you this. According to your MRI rules, here we are on a green 4 after a green star. Once this MRI acceleration breaks, the price should take off significantly, correct? Muted.
Yes.
Yes. So that actually helps back up what we just said is going back to the fractal, looking at the daily chart. Once this swing high, which happens to be the all-time high, is taken out, we really should see an acceleration of the price. It's just a matter of how are we going to get there. So now we've talked about the bullish outlooks. When I saw the 2-month close like it did and 3-month close, I was bullish. The monthly looked terrible. Let me show you what I'm looking at on the monthly. It was a top, in my opinion. And it could be argued that the top was confirmed by taking out the swing low or taking out the low of the last month. Now, I have TA that says to look to the 8 EMA when that happens, which is sitting at $80,000. So if you remember back when I was looking at the cloud chart, and I was showing where the Kijun was, it was at $80,000 as a major buying opportunity. Why is that so important? Let's go back and look at 2016. 2016, anytime the price dropped to the 8 EMA on monthly, if you didn't buy, you missed a major, major opportunity. And there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chances. On the 10th chance, you finally lost. Okay. But this is part of the reason that this market was, this is one of the most technically perfect markets I've ever studied on any asset during any period. It is insane how accurate this was. And if we look back at 2020, we can see once launching off of $14,000 in November 2020, the price left this moving average. So when it finally came down to test it, it wasn't support. I would rather, now this keeps me bullish. This right here is exactly one of the most insane hidden bullish patterns I've learned. When you get an asset that is trading down and sideways into a very key upward trending moving average, it has the potential to absolutely launch the price, which we saw here perfectly. Now,
what do you think is going to happen again is the question.
Well, I don't know, Tone. And the thing is this, though, since there were, in essence, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months revolving around this moving average. Makes me feel okay that it doesn't get tested this time. Okay. This secured this as support, this price range of, let's just call it $60,000. That just gave a lot of confidence. That that drew a lot of liquidity. This was a huge accumulation. So I don't think it's necessary to test this, but watch what happens when I put on my ultra short moving average. So this fulfills the absolute bare minimum of a monthly correction for my TA. It's just a 3. It's a 3 EMA. I could switch this to 5. You can use the 3 or the 5. It doesn't matter. They both are going to give you slightly different information. Here's the 5, right? That is going to rise, and it will look like a test throughout history unless the price actually drops down to it. But this is the reason I like to use the 3 a little bit more than the 5. So this is bare minimum. This is the absolute bare minimum price I wanted to see on off of this monthly top to get this this correction going. And if we get this month that closes in 16 days, closing above 93K and on a new monthly closing high, I think I'm going to trust the TA that I got from the 2-month chart, which basically told me when you get a close above the top band, you are going to see a new high with a high probability, at least on the second candle, but maybe on this candle. So my TA is having me look at a new all-time high by the end of February. I will shift my opinion on that if the monthly chart goes into a deeper consolidation. All right. Now let's look at the weekly chart, and I will show you why I still believe that there is a chance we can trend into the 80Ks. I don't need this. And I'm going to show y'all exactly where the price dipped to and why I would have been a buyer. All right, now the gray moving average, these are all my Fibonacci numbers, 8, 13, 21. Middle Bollinger Band is 18 SMA. This gray moving average is a dip buying zone. And if I go back to the fractal from January of 2024 that we looked at the very beginning of the stream, we can see that the price dipped right in between as the yellow was crossing. This is a really important, this is huge to understand if you can understand my TA principles, which state that when the yellow drops below the mid band, it is a target unless and only if the ADMA holds closes. And this week in January of 2020, of January 2024, important. It dipped into the liquidity zone, still closed as the price is trending sideways into an up moving average. And here's my idea of that being a launching pad. Bam. We got this next candle that took the price from 42K up to 48K and eventually took out this high. Same conditions are applying right now. We had a dip. I wanted this dip to be closer to 85K. We've got the yellow threatening to cross, but we're still holding closes above. So if this week, here we are, let me put the MRI on. It's a it's a green one candle. So as Tone was saying, this will be a green star candle. Tone, does it need to take, will it flip green star? Hold on. Taking out this swing high right here in December 23rd? Or
I mean,
just a body high?
I mean, the green star will take out that high, but that's not a necessary condition. It'll just happen.
But what? Well, okay. What's the condition that will print a green star on this next weekly candy? We're on the green one. It's going to be.
No, you have to break this week's high.
This week's high.
Right, but we don't know where this week's high is going to be yet.
I got you. Okay, so it doesn't relate to the fourth candle back.
No.
Okay, I didn't know that. I thought
we just have to break this week's high. But this week's high could be $128,000, right? So we don't know where this week's high is going to be.
Yes, that is important to know. Okay, so but my point in all this is same conditions so far, same conditions as January, ranging sideways into this uptrending moving average, dip down, hold all the closes above, launch the price. So this would suggest to me that February sees a launch. If this analysis holds true, in order for that to happen, I absolutely need weeks to be closing above 95K at this point. As soon as a week closes below 95K, I am immediately looking into the low to mid 80Ks. Now, the 4-day chart has kept me cautious of any bullish action ever since this cross right here. And Tone, this is why I know you don't like the Bollinger Bands, but this is why I rely on them. And it's just something that I've developed through observing year after year. And here's how it works. As soon as the yellow crosses the mid band, so now you're talking about the 21 EMA crossing below the 18 SMA. So you're losing momentum with the EMA. That becomes a target, but you have to lose the support of this short-term moving average. And we finally got the test. So here I was starting to look in the 80Ks in late December, and this moving average rose from 87K to 91K, and we finally got the test. But the TA held out. Here's the same TA on 5-day chart. I was wanting 88K, and it's got front run so far. Now, the 7-day chart, similar to weekly, is telling me just what Tone said at the beginning of the stream. Be cautious, because this is going to cross without a doubt right at $86,000. And once $95,000 is lost, I'm talking about on a weekly closing basis, not a wick, not a day or two. Once 1 or 2 weeks are starting to close below this, I will absolutely look looked here, this moving average will rise. So it might be more like 86, 87K. However, as long as closes are staying above the orange 8 EMA and we've got this sideways price action into it, I'm bullish. Like there's nothing having me be cautious after this drop that we just saw right down here. So do you have any thoughts on this idea, Tone? Are there any questions that anybody has that you've seen?
No,
No? Okay.
no, we're good. Keep going.
Real
Yeah,
quick.
you got Mark, we have 20 minutes.
No problem. Real quick. So now, once we got this closed yesterday, so this is why if I were trading the MRI, I'm going to put the MRI on, I probably would have taken this long because we got the green star closing above, swinging above, closing above the high of the prior candle, but not only that, also above the middle Bollinger Band and the 21 EMA. And then here's what happens when this orange 8 crosses the 21 and they're both sitting above the middle Bollinger Band, high probability, very high probability. I would say 80% higher. I haven't done the math on it to check, but high probability that the top band will get tested. So I am targeting 101K, still a lower high. It's still significant, but not. And then if I flip to the 2-day chart, we can see that we're far away from getting any kind of a bullish signal. I would need at minimum, let me turn off the MRI real quick. I would need at minimum the orange crossing above the middle band. And the last time we got that signal was all the way back after a major correction down to 50K in September. Once the orange moving average crossed back above on the 2-day chart, that sent Bitcoin basically from 61K up to the current highs. So I am now looking for price to sustain above 97K. So that's very similar to the 95K TA on the 7-day chart. Enough to pull the orange back up and eventually both. At that point, the structure will be set to be incredibly bullish, which that structure got set back in 2024 of September. Any dip back down to the middle Bollinger range is a buy. So do I think we're done with 97K? No. I think it's possible to range all the way back up to 105, dip one more time back down, and help the monthly reset. And like I said, in February, I am anticipating a bit of a God candle in February in one of the weeks. That's my bullish projection or my bullish prediction. Now, one thing I have been watching, I don't know if Tone follows this as closely. I have been watching DXY. We have something very interesting that I believe is going to be very bullish for markets coming up. I'm going to put it on the weekly. It's been in an uptrend, and if I put on the MRI, we have the price sitting at an MRI acceleration. It is a green 7 count. We're going to see an MRI top in 2 weeks. Why does that matter? Because the 2-week chart is also, it's on an MRI warning right now, sitting just below this MRI acceleration. I would love to see DXY top in the next couple of weeks, which would only add fuel to the markets. The markets when the markets are in a bull market, DXY is significantly less relevant. It can trend up. It has been trending up ever since October of this last year, and as we've seen the S&P make new highs and Bitcoin make new highs. It's just when you get a correction that might last several weeks in DXY or a major top, that is when Bitcoin becomes unleashed. So I believe I have some drawings on here. to show you why I will be watching DXY a little bit closer in the next couple of weeks. Yeah. So if I put this on monthly and just go back to 2015, we can see on a monthly time frame, I look for the monthly tops. Those were the most important tops. Once you start getting monthly confirmed tops, this is when Bitcoin has made the biggest moves in its history. Back in 2015, this top and this consolidation started forming the bear market low. Once this finally confirmed, and it takes months, this is months. Sometimes it takes 2, 3, 4 months to see a top in DXY. But once it's confirmed, Bitcoin rolls big time. This was January 2017, DXY topped. Here is the COVID spike right here in March of 2020. That was a major top. That spike basically took Bitcoin from 3,900 to 69K. I have to alter that. Now, here, let's look at what's going on currently. I'm not seeing a monthly top yet, but I have this marking saying, looking for the next major DXY top to keep BTC in the strongest phase of the bull market. Okay. It is making higher highs. So it is flipping itself back into an uptrend. But once we get a confirmed top on monthly in 2025, hopefully, we should see Bitcoin get that final push of strength. Now, this current candle is a green 3, and it's above the top Bollinger Band. There's nothing to be bearish about for DXY. I don't see a sign of a top. If January closes this month red as a shooting star, I will be majorly bullish on Bitcoin for the next quarter. Do you have any thoughts on that or opinions on that idea, Tone?
Not really. I mean, it's great that it's working out that way. It's not something I pay attention to at all.
I know.
But it's kind of cool looking.
I know. Yeah, without a doubt, there is no question in my mind when you get a top on the DXY month, after it confirms, not the top doesn't matter. You have to confirm, yes, this was a top. So this suggests even if somehow this candle closes red, which I'm not convinced it will. It might. It probably won't, quite honestly. Let's say it closes red in February. It might not confirm until March or April, which then extends potentially the run of Bitcoin into the summer, which is what Tone and I have said. Tone is thinking Q2 or Q3. I'm still thinking more Q3 until I get information presented to me otherwise. So that's kind of my current outlook on Bitcoin. Do you have anything else? Any questions on Bitcoin itself, Tone? We can take a look at the S&P real quickly.
Yeah, before we take a look at the S&P, can you just briefly pull up the 55 versus 55 moving average? That was one of the charts that I really like that you do.
Okay. Yeah. Let me turn all this off really quick. I'm looking at dominance. Don't need the MRI. This is a monthly chart on dominance. It's probably a little bit cleaner on 2-week. So I had marked this level right here, going all the way back to April of 2019, this spike high, and then kind of seeing dominance really try to hold in 2021, this level of 61. That seemed to me to be very relevant. And currently we spike dominance right at that 61%. And as we can see right now, it is still creating higher highs. So I'm not yet convinced dominance for Bitcoin has topped for this cycle. However, January is typically when we start to see some QE and some strength comes into the altcoin market. which sometimes helps build some liquidity for Bitcoin. However, there's no sign yet. I don't see any sign that dominance is done. Do you think dominance is going to roll above this 61%, Tone?
Yeah, I do.
You do? I
But again, right, you got to look at dominance minus the stable coins,
yeah, here's
which
dominance.
you're not at the moment.
Here's dominance minus the stable coins.
Right.
That is sitting at 61.5. It's sitting right in the middle of this range right here. And as you can see, I had an eyeball up at 66 because had dominance breached 66, it would have spiked either with the price going well above 100K or actually crashing well into the 80Ks or lower. But as it stands right now, it's kind of nebulous, just sitting in the middle of this range while still basically having printed an overall higher low. And so the next higher high would have to be above 65. And if that does happen, I do think this would get taken out. And I do think that would happen with the price rising and not crashing. That's just kind of my general idea. Okay, so the 55s. I think I had that on Bitcoin's 3-week chart. That's where I get that. I select them. Yeah, they're selected. Why aren't they showing up? Bueller. Let me refresh this. All right. Back to the index. All right. And where are my indicators? There they are. Okay. Yeah, for some reason, there you go. So this is lighter green 55 EMA trending above 55 SMA. And when Tone and I were talking about this cross, it was taking place actually a good while ago. And I was very bullish. We can see every time we get these crosses, the price does pull down into it. Same thing happened in 2020. Now it's just cruising along and we're getting divergence between these. I wonder if we're seeing this. Here's the 3-week chart.
I thought there was another one that was going to cross over and you were going to be bearish because of it. This isn't the one I was thinking of.
That was on a lower time frame. I was only going to be temporarily bearish because this was already in effect. And this was telling me in June with the price sitting at $65,000 that the uptrend was just getting started. But I think we might have gotten it on the 5-day. We did. And as we can see here, so I was looking at this consolidation here, similar to this fractal back here. Not quite as extreme, but I was also very cautious because we got this negative cross back in 2019 prior to COVID. So even though the price spiked back up, so what's happening right now, Tone, is very bullish for me. We have the EMA cross back above the SMA. In 2019, prior to COVID, even though there was this nice run from $6,500 up to 10K and sustained above there, with the green, with the light green being postured below, it cannot be trusted as support, especially on the second test. And it wasn't until later in 2020, June of 2020, and I remember this really well because right here formed a triangle. And had the price dropped back below $8,500 in July of 2020, man, I would have been mega bearish. I would have been looking for the price to sweep all the way back down and maybe even make new lows. It was very, very, very close to falling apart right here. But you can kind of see, without having to draw any trend lines, a triangle, which was basically kind of like a bull flag. And we got a breakout, back testing the support, and then price launched. So currently with this crossing situation, we have the bearish cross that did pull the price down below. And it was really, really important to hold this moving average as support. This is the 55 SMA, long enough to pull the EMA back above. Now it looks golden to me, Tone. I don't see anything to be worried about. Let's see if we can find this cross bearish on a time frame. Oh, here you go. Perfect. On the daily. So this is a great example of how this cross works. As the price is trending up, but losing momentum, it's going to try as hard as it possibly can to pull the price back down into the cross, which is exactly what it did. So, and like I said, it never holds the second test. Once you get the bearish cross and the EMA is postured below, when it trends back to the EMA, it's not support yet. So what we're seeing right now is very bullish for the daily chart. And it's easy TA because all you need to do is say, okay, well, now we need to see the price sustained above $97,000 long enough to pull the EMA back above, which again tells me we might not be done with $97,000. If we look back here in September of 2024, we got this bearish dip, and once the moving average finally crossed bullish, there still was 2 strong drops to try to dismantle it right here in October of 2024 at a price of $60,000. So I do believe that it's possible we can see the price maybe new swing high, maybe new all-time high. I believe there's still going to be time to be buying Bitcoin sub $100,000, but not much. Once this crosses back above and tests and holds, I'm pretty bullish. So here we are. We're just getting that fresh cross on the 12-hour chart. So this is telling me 95K is a dip buying zone until it's not. Just simply using these 2 simple moving averages. You can maybe set stops right below these swings. All right, so that's about it. Let's just see what S&P is doing really quick. It's actually the Dow that I'm watching closer than the S&P. So we can see here in the S&P, just looking at the 12-hour chart, we got this bearish cross, and the price is pushing on the 55. I wouldn't expect any kind of bullishness until this area at 59.50 becomes support on 12-hour basis. So you need to see many 4-hour candles closing back above it, and that might solidify this as a low. I'm going to guess that there's some bullish divergence right here, which there is, between these 2 lows. So the RSI made a higher low as the price made a lower low. We could still reject and see one more drive lower, but this is looking like the 12-hour chart is wanting to correct. I'll show you what I'm looking at on the Dow long term. I'm going to put it on the monthly. So if I put this is how to watch early warnings right now. As long as the yellow 21 is trending parallel to the middle band, which it basically has been doing ever since November 2023. I think the indexes are fine. It's just look what happened back here in 2021 at this all-time high area as this price was basically kind of trending sideways and rolling over. That's when we got this major pull down back down to the 50 EMAs. There's no sign of this yet in the market indexes. The S&P is fine, but I am watching this just to see if it rolls over. Simple TA is very simple. The S&P has to hold 5,700 closes. As long as it's holding 5,700 and these moving averages are postured this way, the top band is always in play. I'm generally bullish on the market indexes. It's the NDX. Here's the NDX that might be the canary in the coal mine. And we do have to watch this last candle. What was that on the MRI, Tone? 5. I'm not convinced this was a market top. Are you? Muted. You're muted.
I'm not convinced it's a market top either. Can you just pull up the Dow real quick one more time?
Yeah, I will. Before I go away though, look, right here, we're on the monthly chart is a fresh bullish cross between the 55 and the 55. So if we go back, let's see when the last time we got that cross was. We have to go back many years. Wow. We have to go back to 2011, which the TA shows us here that any drop into the middle Bollinger. So here, look, before I do this, Tone, this is really important. Okay, here in 2011, we've got the rollover of the price, the yellow drop below the mid band, but we had the bullish cross below it. That gives you strong confidence to buy anything near the middle Bollinger Band or the yellow moving average. Those same conditions, exact same conditions, are in place right now for the first time in many, many, many years. So what this suggests is that any kind of correction, which would be 18-20%, that's the standard bull market correction, nothing to worry about. It tells me anything down to 18,000 on the NASDAQ should be a very strong buy. I would not expect to see this with the cross fresh, but we'll see. Okay, what did you want to see? The Dow again?
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, this is super bullish, man. It's super bullish.
Very bullish. And
the S&P is bullish as well. You're also looking at monthly charts, but
yeah, but that's
yeah.
So look, same holds true. Even on stock market assets, as many touches of this short-term support you can get on an asset on the monthly chart, the more fuel you're going to add to extend it. So the fact that we just got this nice dip and are seeing a decent reaction off of 42,000, especially with these moving averages postured, I'm just bullish. And also, let's just do this. This 2-month chart was not pretty. However, this fresh cross right here is telling me not to be bearish. It's just going to consolidate and probably try higher. And I can almost guarantee you, Tone, if I put that red 3 moving average, it is going to hug the price right here. I'm going to put it on right now. There it is. Right? So whenever you see a gap like that, I can almost guarantee every time it's going to be the 3 or the 5 that's suspending the price. So the TA is simple on the Dow right now on the 2-month chart is as long as the months are closing above 42,000, then there's no need to look any lower, especially with this bullish cross in place right here. As long as the yellow and the orange are above the middle band, top band is always the target. Always, always, always. So according to my TA rules, 44,200 is in play, even with the monthly having this correction here. And that will be solidified if the month closes back above 43,000. So let's just see how that closes. I don't think I had anything else specific. Someone wants to look at MSTR. I'll go a little bit lower time frame on that. MSTR had a nice I don't know if I have any drawings on this. Let me get rid of the bands. Okay, yeah. So MSTR had a nice kind of a bump and run breakout right here in January, had this spike up and broke down and has tested and is moving up, but it's still a little bit. Look, MSTR is the exact same position as Bitcoin is. It's bullish, but until this high is taken out, I would be cautious on it. Do you have any opinions on that, on MSTR straight off the bat, Tone? It looks like Bitcoin does to me.
It does. It does. I was hoping it would fall all the way down to 200 so I can get some, but it doesn't look like it will.
It seems like there was something I was watching. So I have this horizontal. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. I knew I wanted to talk about something on this. Okay. MSTR, I think we covered this on one stream, but all this mega bullishness started coming out literally right here. This was the week of November 18th, kind of coming into the end of the year, and MicroStrategy is buying all this Bitcoin, and it's got a nice what's that word? Help me out here, Tone. A markup. It's trading as kind of like leverage, right? That's how people have been looking at it. And
yeah, it's a leverage trade. It's a high beta trade. Yeah.
Yeah, but the price was trending into the 5.618 extension when all this was going on, and I'm like, man, I would not be buying this thing. I understand that the fundamentals are bullish. I get that, but I don't think it's going to push above this 5.618. You're talking about the 5.618. Bitcoin would have to be close to $300,000 right now to be pushing on its 5.618 Fibonacci extension. And this doesn't look like much, but it was from top to bottom, it was almost a 50% correction. Like, that's perfect. Okay, breaking out of kind of like a parabolic rise, a 50% correction. So now I'm looking at the weekly chart. This week is trying to close and take out the losses of the last 4 weeks. I would consider that bullish, especially with the trend line broken. It also, oh, here's another thing interesting, Tone. Sorry. This black horizontal goes all the way back to the all-time high of whenever this was, whatever it was. So establishing what MSTR has to do is it has to establish $330 as support. I would say after losing it for a week or two, I would want to see 3-4 weeks consistently closing back above it. And then I would begin to start looking at new all-time highs. That's kind of how I would approach MSTR right now. Oh, long-term, freaking mega bullish. Let me see the last monthly, let me get rid of the drawings. This 2-month close is and still remains a warning. Whenever a red candle closes inside the Bollinger Band, this is the target. But you have to confirm the low, or you have to confirm the top. This top has not been confirmed at all. In fact, this current month is trying to close back above the band. So I can almost guarantee if I put the red 3 on, it's going to be suspending the price, which it is. So closing the month above 323 and especially back above the top band at 355, that keeps me bullish. And this potential top on the monthly chart is negated. I mean, it was a top. Yes, it was a top. We saw a 50% correction. So that's about it. Let's see. Any comments? Brandon says, looking at the 12-hour chart, it's like looking at multi-month. Are you talking about on Bitcoin or the stock market? Because I was looking at both. Now on Bitcoin, I understand what you're saying. I kind of wanted this particular stream just to focus on the high time frames, because Tone and I really didn't cover we had a monthly close, a quarterly close, a 2-month close, a 4-month close, a 6-month close, and a yearly close at the end of the year. So I really wanted to at least take a look at that. We can go back to Bitcoin really quickly and just look at the 4-hour chart before calling it a day. And I mean, it's just bullish. It's just, here's the price. Check this out. Just applying the same idea I talked about early on to current price action. Here's the price, in essence, trading sideways into this key moving average, and we got a launch. It basically took the price from 97K up to almost 100K. But the 4-hour chart, put the MRI on it. Green star candle closed above the MRI acceleration. Coming down to find support. I don't see anything bearish in this. Do you, Tone?
No, I don't.
Me neither. So
I mean, other than it went up a little too much, a little too fast overall.
yeah,
It could be a pullback down to 95, close this gap this morning. But overall, no, I mean, the longer this consolidates, the more bullish Bitcoin gets.
agree. And again, I can go back to what I showed a little bit earlier on Bitcoin on the daily chart. I don't need all these moving averages. It's getting sloppy. We just have, as long as these two moving averages right here are above the middle band, this top band is in play. That's my TA. Especially once they cross, then it's even, like, they're probably going to cross on this daily close. So any drop back down to here is bullish, and it's going to have me still looking at the upper band. So I do see Bitcoin in a buy the dip zone right now. And I'm wondering if the daily, I showed the weekly 13 EMA. Oh, there it is. I knew there would be one. Perfect. Absolute perfect stab of the 89 EMA. And if we look back, this is kind of where the price based off of this 80 EMA. Yes, the 89, it did dip below it. We can see what happens here in August of 2024 when this particular, right here, when this particular moving average is lost. This kind of becomes deep support. If it gets lost and becomes resistance, silent night. So had Bitcoin closed a day or two below 89K and then came back up and tested anywhere up here and rejected, then my scenario of 83 to 85 to 87K would be playing out. Seeing this strong reaction off of it, and then closing all the way back above the 21 EME, it's bullish. Like, I don't see anything to be bearish about. I agree with Tone. The longer it consolidates without rolling back over, the more bullish, because then the oscillators on daily, 2-day, 3-day, 4-day have a chance to reset And as I was looking at the 2-day oscillators earlier, RSI is bullish. I'm going to look to see if it closes above the EMA. The stochastics are bullish. iFish is flipping bullish. Stochastic RSI is bullish. Momentum is trying. It's not confirmed yet, but it's trying. The daily oscillators are all bullish, every single one of them. The key will be IFS crossing back above the 0 line right here. That probably happens with the Bitcoin price coming into the top Bollinger Band when I put that back on. So right around 101K, we'll be watching to see if this rejects. Once this crosses back above, we're bullish. Also, here's something really quick to look at. There's a simple trend line. I can see it without even having to draw it. There's a nice trend line on RSI. I love RSI trend lines. Love them. They're not perfect, but I can right there. So if we see something with this RSI on daily breaking out, rolling back over, testing support, and then trending back up again, the low is probably in. We're not confirmed yet, but it's looking good. So that's all I got, Tone. We're probably out of time. You got to go do what you got to do. I'm good. I said all I needed to say.
Yeah, no, thanks for joining, Mark. If you want to jump off screen share.
Yep.
All right, guys. Yep, long overdue show. Thanks for joining. And yeah, we'll try to have you on again next week, but I'm not sure where in the world I'm going to be next week yet. My
Okay.
schedule is totally up in the air. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Please like, subscribe, share. And tomorrow is Thursday. I do have a flight tomorrow. But we should be able to get the show in the morning, probably closer to 8 a.m. Eastern time. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching, and see you all on the next
Thanks for joining.